Good morning, folks. Welcome to our broadcast. Beatrice, Selby, Yanet, and Desiree, and Maxine, Everett. Good to have all of you folks on the live this morning. Junior Lawson, good to have you too. Is it Elise Williams, Culvis Bino, good to have you here. Julie G, good to have all of you on the live this morning. Tis the season, folks. It's another day we're here. We trust that you guys are great wherever you're joining us from this morning. Happy to have each and every one of you with us today. It's Thursday, folks, the 27th. Believe it or not, the 27th of March, a couple days left. Great to have all of you with us. And, you know, we got quite a few things happening. How are you guys doing this morning? The night is far spent. Good to have you, Anthony and Camille and Forbes and Junior and Samoa Williams. Good to have all of you on the live this morning. Great to see you, Paulette. Paulette, you're there. Great to have you, Paulette. Gloria Chester's here too. Gloria. Bertrand Henry. Good to have you, Bertrand and Sharon McPherson. Good to have all of you on the live today. Pace and power. Lots happening, folks. Lots happening. We give you guys a snapshot of some of it. You know, nothing new under the sun, we say, but them boys is bare foolishness. Same story, different day. Gonna have you guys here. Hope it's a good day where you guys are. Y'all are starting the day fired up and ready to go. I feel like I've got up too early this morning. Too early, but we gotta keep putting one foot down in front of the next. June Cameron is here. Earl Gulliver is here. Deborah Irwin. Good to have all of you on the live today. Lester Williams, we see you there. Good to see you, Lester. And all the other folks joining us. Dolly, Rastaman, Emerson, Linden, Irwin, Don. Good to have you. Upright Youth, Bridge Mohan. Good to have you on the live as well, guys. We hope that you guys are good. Wherever you all are joining us from this morning, wherever you're joining us from, happy to have all of you here. Yet another day, folks. Yet another day. So much happening where Beatrice is. So much happening where Marlon is. Good to have you on the live this morning. So much. Naomi, by your end too, if you joined the live already. So much happening. Look at this one. As we start today, you know, they tell us that the U.S. federal judiciary, I did tell you quite recently we saw Speaker of the House in the U.S. say, look, these federal courts stalling up Trump's agenda, especially as it concerns the deportation of undocumented immigrants, alleged undocumented immigrants. These federal courts stalling the president's agenda, we got to do it all that. You know, what's a federal court? What is a federal court? Now they're telling us that the federal judiciary, they have launched a judicial security and independence task force. And this is to address growing threats against judges. You're listening to us? Growing threats against judges. This comes as the Trump administration, President Trump, his allies as well, escalate criticism of rulings against the administration. Yep. And this task force is being chaired by one Judge James Breda, and it aims to protect judicial independence amid all this Republican effort to limit judges' authority, and in some instances, cutting judicial funding. And they're pushing, this is Trump folks, pushing for the impeachment of those who block Trump's policies. Yeah. What's a federal court? What's a federal court? And that's why I'm a little wary when I hear people coming to lecture us this side of the Atlantic. I'm a little weary about that. People coming to tell you how to live politically upright. And when in your own house, you're not upright, Orvin Don, Frank Rice. You're not upright. 777. You're not upright. Marlon Morning, if you're now joining us, we call your name early on. These people that are by your side, Marlon. What are you doing with them? What are we doing with them? So that's what we're following. Bolivia, Latin America. Bolivia is a lovely country. Floods have killed 50, they tell us, and displaced 100,000 in Bolivia. The president has declared a national emergency following what they call torrential rains, severe flooding, 50 dead, 100,000 displaced. 100,000 displaced. So you could imagine what's happening there. Could you just imagine what's going on there? They said all 9 regions of the country have been affected. All 9 regions. This reminds me of the 2 national floods we had. And each one they were no more prepared for than the one before. So some of the things we're watching this morning, and then I saw, as we're closer to home, as we were at home, I saw a column in, I think it's the Chronicle, your boy Freddie. He said the Venezuelans would never invade. They cannot and would never. You know, I could imagine some folks in Ukraine sit down 2 or 3 years ago saying, you know, Russia would never. International community would not allow it. They would not allow it. Siobhan? They would not allow the international community. They would never. Never. They would never. When the Hudson? Yeah, that's what. Now he's banking on. Your boy Freddie. Right. He is, in this column today, rejects the claim that Venezuela invasion of Guyana is inevitable. And he's arguing that geopolitical realities make such an event highly unlikely. Oh yes, tell that to the folks from Ukraine. It's highly unlikely. And he's come out attempting to criticize a letter by Mark Archer. Criticizing a letter by Mark Archer. It's like Ukraine didn't even happen. Says the spider to the fly, or the fly to the spider. It didn't happen. It was, nobody wants it to happen. Nobody wants it to happen. But can they? Do they have the capacity? Helen Collins, Cheryl Pancham, do they have the capacity? You know, like, I want to be unkind to Freddie. You know, I try to be respectful of old people, of big people. I don't want to be unduly unkind. You know? This is unlikely. And then he goes down to criticize Mark Archer. Even Starbuck News. He said, a deeper understanding of international relations would have prevented Starbuck News from publishing such a letter. Enid says, Freddie living in a bubble. Bubbly a bubble. He's living in a bubble. Right? He's living in a bubble. And it comes and says, yeah. Thanks, Annette. And the federal judge's issue. He's in a bubble. I perceive the folks in the Ukraine were much the same way. Saying that, oh, Putin crazy, but he ain't that crazy. We all got one crazy uncle. You know, that one crazy family member. Probably says a deeper understanding of international relations would have informed Starbuck News not to publish Mark Archer's letter. Yeah, because we strong, eh? June Cameron, we strong. In my Robeson voice, shoot and scoot. Shoot and scoot. Shoot and scoot. Never ever dull moment. Never dull moment. Again, folks, why people out here looking so thin? Why is that? Why is that? Why is that? When I saw the video circulating with Indira Jaffarali, Member of Parliament, Jaffarali's sister, or is it his niece? Family. When I saw her box Terence, I said, what story is this? Why are the people acting so desperate? Maybe they are. Maybe they are. Maybe they're desperate. So quite recently we saw this commotion. Tempers flaring at number 43 village on the quarantine. We saw Jafar Ali, Indira assaulting this PNC supporter. Assaulting him. For why? In this one Guyana. Why?
Yes. Where you guys in picture?
What would have possessed her? What would you have done there, Sri Felix? Somebody box you like that. Avril, Harold, what could have possessed her? Who called her and said, box one of them? Rastaman? Auntie Sandra? What could have possessed her near fortune? What could have possessed her, Nigel Plass? What? Shocking. Shocking. You know, I saw folks calling for the observer missions to come early. I saw folks predicting. I know a lot of you will remember this. You remember there was an incident in the US by a boathouse? Chair and all kinds of things start pelted and so on. And lots of people said this thing is descending into that. It's descending into that. What could have possessed her? You can't just walk up to somebody and box them like that. You asking for trouble. You asking for trouble. Next, what would you have done, Colvis? What would you have done? That kind of action is reprehensible, unacceptable. Take a look at it again.
Yes. Where you guys in picture?
You see, the PPP got to speak to the hooligans and thugs. The PPP got to talk to the hooligans and thugs. They got to talk to them. Joel says she's smelling her sweat. These are the hooligans and thugs. Tyler Green says she'll get his slap back. Hooligans and thugs. And this was number 43 village on the quarantine. And yesterday morning, there were some similar scenes. Yesterday morning, this is when the guys were in Firish Village. But we gotta do differently. We gotta act differently. Reject outright this madness. Reject it. So why people believing that certain parts of this country they own? Where's prey on this? Vindia, Onage. Where are the newly minted influencers? Where are they? Reprehensible conduct by Indira Jafrali. Reprehensible conduct. You can't just go and invade people's personal space like that because you have a different political opinion. You just go out and fight it with people like that. You asking for trouble? You asking for trouble? Trouble, lots of it. So it is incumbent on all right-thinking Guyanese, Brennan and Lester, Gwyneth, Michelle, Susan, and John, to reject that kind of conduct. Reject it. And there's a seeming escalation. You see the people call and they give the goons on the ground the marching orders. Look some of it at Letter Ken yesterday.
This big man, he telling the girl to slap Mr. Ramaya. Video him.
You saw that? You all saw that?
This big man, he telling the girl to slap Mr. Ramaya. Video him.
Yeah. Them boys, what it is so afraid of in this one Guyana that we all should be able to get a piece of the pie politically, socially. What it is so afraid of? I see lots of folks across the divide in this country. They said, this is Mr. Muhammad as a Muslim, just living his religion, helping people, listening to people. Why this fight down? You know, why this fight down? They look so desperate, the PPP. They look so thin, the PPP. Yeah. What is all of it for? What is all of it for? It's so sad. The desperation of the PPP, it's so sad. Sheer desperation. That's what you're seeing. Desperation, top to bottom. And on the heels of that, while that's happening, they tell us that we got a foreign currency shortage. You know, some would love to bury their heads in the sand. Some folks would love to bury their heads in the sand and say, oh, it's not happening. Everything nice. In the 592. Everything is great. In the 592. So long as you don't have a political opinion and you keep in your corner. You know? Everything is super. And folks have been saying, as we get closer and closer to this election, we're going to see more of it. We're going to see more of it.
This big man, he telling the girl to slap Mr. Ramaya. Video him.
Where you guys in picture?
Yeah. In a sad place. We're in a sad place. And Guyanese, again, I'm calling on all of you. You're on social media. We're on social media. Reject that. Reject that. Put a little statement up on your profile. You see us share a message rejecting that. Share that statement if you can. Reject that. Businessmen are complaining while they're happening. Foreign currency shortage. The banks said they put hundreds of thousands of US foreign currency on the market. But the businessmen said this has changed nothing. There's persistent unavailability of US currency. And this is crippling our importers, crippling our drivers, rather driving up prices. Crippling importers, driving up prices that you and I got to pay in the marketplace. Right. But they're saying everything good. Colin Solomon, they're saying everything all right. Nothing to worry about. Much ado about nothing. This is what they should be focused on, you know. With all the energy, this is what they should be focused on. Focus on that. This is central bank has injected millions into the banking system where foreign currency is concerned. And yet, the matter remains unabated. Unabated. We pick up a story from Kaicher News, who told us that businesses like Double D Trading and Distribution, Double D Trading and Distribution, they've raised this issue about being unable to access foreign currency. You see, it's not a one thing. It's on every front. You got fires burning. On every front. What that's happening? Look, the EPA now got a mandate. Rather, the court has to mandate the EPA. They say you got to measure for CO2. You got to test for CO2. Right? Measure and test. measure and test. All these EIAs that are waving, we're getting the real short end of the stick, you know. Not the fake end, the real short end. So Judge Simone Morris, she's determined that Exxon Guyana, their Hammerhead project, it got to pick up itself. It fall down a little bit, pick up itself, and put these issues on the front burner. You know this one, you want the glow of it, the flowers of it, but in reality, they're not really truly being proactive in the interest of Guyana. They're not. And then in this morning's paper, we got Foreign Minister Annette Ferguson taking them to task on the lotto fund, raising concerns over the financial irregularities of the lottery fund, and calling for accountability from the PAC, calling for accountability from Minister Juan Edgil. We saw MP Ferguson also highlight from a forensic audit questionable withdrawals, unsupported payments under the oversight of one Mr. Prasad. Yeah, you think it's one thing? Confusion powder, foreign currency shortage. The High Court got to be reprimanding them. And then accountability and good governance. Well, you know that's not their strong suit. You know that is not their strong suit. Not by a long shot. Not by a long shot. I'm heading to the finish line. I really want us to conclude by 9 because we got to push on to some other things that are happening at our side. So you'll forgive us. So Edgel got a lot to answer for. You know, history can be unkind to some folks. History can be unkind to some folks. Kirk and Deborah and Mandy. Cheryl Pancham. History can be unkind. Linden. So much happening with our kids. A man who purports to be the father of an infant, apparently trying to get the mother's attention, wrapped a sheet around the child's neck, and they say was had the child in a hanging position. You know, some of y'all wicked. Some of y'all wicked. But I saw a video of the father being apprehended. And well, if that's not being brutalized, I don't know what is. I don't know what is like the man said of the Mr. Lee the other day, them boys might give you a couple taps. Tap him up. A few slaps. Nothing much. But the authorities has rescued that child from that situation. And the father is currently in police custody. And well, that was happening in Linden. In Kwakwani last evening, we saw this 2-year-old boy. 2 years old. We heard from credible sources that the child wasn't bathing. The parents got a shop at the front of their home. And if you know Kwakwani, the river's behind it. And they said he was with them all the time. And, customers coming and going, they get up to sell the customers and so on. And then they notice he missing. Always love the river, they tell us. Always love the river. They notice a young man is missing. Right. Turan McLennan. Right. They notice Turan is missing. And Jamaica, the mother, of course, was frantic. Summoned the community and people went out into the river looking for young Turan McLennan. And then found him. You know, my God. The folks who were talking to us, who were close to the family, I could imagine. We got a 4-year-old pushing on 5. And our source says the mother bawled. You know? The mother bawled. Only true Guyanese can understand. True Guyanese. You got crying, right? And then you got bawling. You got crying and then you got... They said the mother bawled for that child. That the child was not bathing by the river. I want to underscore that. They were all there in this shop. The river in Kwakwani is not 5 miles from the house. The river is the backyard. The river is your backyard. That's why that area is so prone to flooding, because once the river rises, it's in your house. You know? And I recall a poem by Martin Carter. In one part of this poem, Carter says, a moment of love ago, you were right there, and this child killed by a motor car. A moment of love ago, you were right there with your mother, you know. And then you were not. Child went out on the road, and this poem by Carter chronicling this horrific incident. The child was right there, a moment of love ago with the parents. And they're just dealing with customers as they come. And he is sitting down there, you know, playing. And y'all know how country is. Children go through the fence and go over by the neighbor, and people live like that. At first instance, they thought he had gone back upstairs with the others. And when he went missing, he said almost instantaneously when they missed him, they went looking for him. Went upstairs to see if he had gone back upstairs. And then this search ensued. And young Turan McLennan was found in the river, his lifeless body pulled from the river. The mother bawled. You know, I was reading this morning when I got up. I saw a post by Desiree Edgell. She was talking about grief. Having lost a daughter a couple of months ago, she was talking about grief. Look, death, I wouldn't wish it on anybody. I wouldn't wish it on anybody. Now hear this family. Grieving now. You know, grieving now. Thoughts and prayers with them. Our thoughts and our prayers with them. And you know, as we were in Kwakwani, I was in Kwakwani 2 weekends ago. Last weekend, the lines were changed proper. Were in Kwakwani as well. I saw the vice chair of the party, Mr. Carrington, has a letter in the press today talking about the challenges that the folks in Kwakwani live under. Michael Carrington, the vice chair of the Lines for Change, enumerating on the challenges, the struggles of the people in Kwakwani. I did tell you, we're going to circle back to some of what I saw when I was there. It's interesting. We still got a lot of things to unpack from when I went to Kwakwani, what I saw on the ground there. Much of what our colleague Michael Carrington is chronicling too in this missive to the press, missive to the media, the struggles of the people of Kwakwani, and articulating that, Carrington calling for urgent economic interventions. You see, residents continue to suffer from job shortages, infrastructure that has been neglected, among a litany of woes, flood road constructions, poor public facility maintenance, unreliable water and electricity. Correct is right. Correct is right. And, this is some of what we engaged to when we were on the ground in Kwakwani. And people deserve better. People deserve better. I told you of this area, for instance, in Kwakwani. It's a huge portion of land. This photograph don't even do it justice that we took while we were there. They said people asked for housing in this area. They said, no, they got a government project to put here. They can't give the space. And now they have given all the land, scores of acres, to a Chinese businessman to open a supermarket. To a Chinese businessman. Huge expanse of land. We saw that. You heard Carrington talk about road infrastructure, flood road construction. Look what we saw. The road done breaking up. This piece of road that just fixed. The road washing away. And part of the reason is they're not building the roads with any drains to the sides. So when the rain falls and the water come down the hill, it's washing everything, including the road. It's washing everything. I see some folks from Kwakwani on the live with us. We lying? Shamila? We lying on them? I was so happy to see Michael Carrington's letter because it helps us to segue back into this, back into this issue. Poor infrastructure. The PAP said it just rehabilitated this swimming pool in Kwakwani. Millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. But that's not what we saw. We saw poor with moss. Moss take it over. Bushy area. This could be a creek for all we know. This is a pool. It could be a creek for all we know. Carrington talks about the poor infrastructure. We saw that too. We don't know who trained them to build road, but we don't think this is the way. We don't think this is the way to build roads. Yeah. There is no foundation being laid here, Right? They're just throwing concrete and loam or whatever it is. They're just throwing concrete. Poor road infrastructure. And then we told you about the The barge is not functioning. The barge is not functioning properly, or rather the tugboat. The tugboat not working, and the tugboat got two small boats, as you see there, pushing it to push the barge. Pushing it to push the barge. You know? This is what's happening in Kwakwani. So again, I really welcome Michael Carrington's letter in today's press that speaks to these issues. Speak to these issues. My God. My God. Again, the persistent issues of unreliable water, electricity, poor public facility, poor public maintenance, flawed road construction. And the list goes on. The list goes on. The folks on the live from Kwakwani could add the rest there. You could add the rest there. But we want to leave it there this morning, folks. Good to have had so many of you in the live. 1,300 of you watching us, including Mandy Cummins and Rena and Carlisle. I see Yvette and all the other folks joining us this morning. We're going to see you guys on the other side. You all take care. Take it easy. Have a great day. There's where we leave it this morning. Reggie, Auntie Sandra, Nigel, Kwakwani. Folks, I know lots of you, it is your prerogative where you go and so on in this life, in this country for your vacation and so on. But you all visit some of these places. It's not too expensive. Visit our country. See your country. And listen, I wanna make a plea. Morna Stoby's in Port Kaituma. I wanna go back to Port Kaituma. Morna, remind me how much to come to Port Kaituma by plane. Remind me how much to come. Right. Remind me how much to come. We got a political season on us. And folks, I want you all to take us seriously. A lot is going to happen. Plenty things, enough. I want to invite you all to partner with us so that we can get to some of these places. Now, if I got to do this on a little parliamentary salary, it's not going to work out. It's not going to work out. Right? We got to go on the ground where the things happening. If I didn't go to Kwakwani, I can't get those images for you. We can't talk to the people. And so I want to, you might be able to do it. Right? I'm speaking to all of you individually watching us. Help us to do this. I want to go back and see Morna and company. I want to get into some places I haven't gone to yet. I want to go back to some of those places. We got to get back to Leteba. Right? Morna says it's 25,000 by plane. Morna, is that one way or that's two way? Because I remember flying in, I don't think I paid 25,000. Is that one way, Morna? Is that one way or is that two way? 25,000 by plane. Right? And now, this is not somewhere you can go in a day and come back, you know. So when you go there, you got to find accommodation. You got to find food. You got to move around. We can't do this on our own. Now, them boys got the oil money. They got the oil money to do it. We don't have it like that. Here, be just saying, be fields to fire road. Got huge holes for the longest while. Marlon Thomas said we're waiting on the AFC for the coalition. How are you waiting to, Marlon? Marlon, I waiting too. I waiting too. Right? Elias says she want to hear from Uncle Rahim. I began to go back to Uncle Rahim in Region 5 there. We got to go back in by Uncle Rahim. Correct, Janet? Morning says it's 25,000 one way. Is he way in live? And you got so many stories to be told of the PP's skullduggery in all these places. So that is my pitch. As we get into this electoral season, that you all help us to do that as a program so that you all have the information. Right? And so that folks can make better decisions. You cannot make good decisions with inadequate information. Right? Sparkle Gonzalez says, Share, tell some of your fellow MPs to hit the ground. Will do. Will do. Ravi Derup says, election is the next couple of months. What go on with the coalition? I'm trying to find out myself, Ravi. You're not alone. You're not alone. Right? Beatrice says she's wearing a white cap. Who's wearing the white cap? Who's wearing the white cap? So, folks, please, we're not asking for everything you own. We're not asking to sell your grandmother TV and send us the money. Right? But if you find the work we do here has any value, and you want to know what's happening in these other places, we got to go back to Deep South, Rupununi. We got to go to the Pacaraimas. And as we said, the further out you go from the national capital, I mean, we got lots of corruption right here. The further out you go, the more the corruption plenty. The more the corruption enough. Kirk asking, when is election day? Well, they haven't announced that. But the outside window is the end of November. That's the outside window. I mean, we could collectively push it back if there's a political will to do it. But that's the outside window as we stand now. Right? As we stand now. Good to have all of you on with us. Good to see you, folks. We're going to see you guys back on the next broadcast. Take care, folks. That's a 10. That's a program. Thanks for joining us this morning.